So in my Pumpkin the Gentleman video, I mentioned that I wanted to start diving into more art-related topics since I am somewhat of an artist. However, when I made this decision, I quickly came to the realization that I actually know next to nothing about the art community. I'm not on art TikTok, I barely make it onto art Twitter, and I don't tend to watch much YouTube either. I come across a few annoying things here and there, but ultimately I'm not involved enough to know enough. I then realized that whenever I click on anyone's art profiles on Twitter, I notice the tag in their bio saying pro shippers do not interact if pro shipper ew. So naturally I asked myself, what the fuck is a pro shipper? I had no idea. I did a little research and found that the universal definition of a pro shipper is someone who supports a ship or pairing that is deemed, in quotations, problematic. You know, for example, incest, age difference that can be pedophilic, abusive dynamics, so on and so forth. Or they have the belief in the freedom to create and consume fanworks with such elements. I found this interesting and I wanted to dive deeper on it and potentially make a video about it. I spoke to Kumo.
Your phone ringing! Your phone ringing!
You know, the guy with the white hair. And I told him my plan and he basically said, yeah, if I were you, I wouldn't touch that topic with a 10-foot fucking pole. He explained to me that I'd likely end up with a bunch of lolicons in my comments. Which, yeah, I don't really want lolicons in my comments, to be honest. So I put it off and decided that maybe I'll just sit this one out. That was until a video popped up on my feed by a YouTuber named Graceful, where he talks about everyone's favourite art commentary YouTuber, Mushroom Girl, and I thought I was a Creepshow art ripoff. When I did my initial research into proshipping, I did come across Mushroom Girl's video, but quickly scrolled past because I tend to find her ramblings hard to understand, and no, that's not me taking the mick out of her speech impediment. My brain just turns off when people ramble too much. Graceful gave me a taste of her video, however, so I decided to brave it and watch the whole video myself to try and soak in the wisdom that she shares. Spoiler, I didn't get through the whole video, so this video is just going to be touching on half of it, which are the parts that I feel are more important. I don't see the point in going over the whole thing, to be honest, since she does go on a tangent about definitions for some reason.
Definition of the definition is backing up the definition I showed. Rewrite the definition by definition. By its very definition.
For this video though, I mostly want to pick out the main arguments she makes and, like I said, indulge in the wisdom that she has bestowed upon us.
Disclaimer. This video will contain themes and discussions of a dark nature such as rape, murder, abuse, lolicon, and incest. This video will also contain discussions of sexual themes. This video is intended for people 16+.
Well, I'm glad she said it, because I wasn't going to.
A pro-shipper is a person who believes that all fictional ship pairings are valid regardless if they portray themes that are seen as taboo by the general public, and by fandom spaces such as abuse, rape, pedophilia, or incest. Pro-shippers do not necessarily need to enjoy this taboo content themselves. Some may even find it triggering or disgusting, but despite that, they believe that this content has the right to exist and people who create that content should not be harassed or even face legal repercussions for what they create.
Yeah, this is already off to a bad start. Shipping characters that are legally allowed to be together, in which I mean their relationship isn't abusive in any type of way, is not an issue. I think we can all agree on that. But if being a pro-shipper automatically means that while you may not like the art and may not indulge in it, you still support it. Like, okay, you don't draw child porn, good for you, I guess, but you're accepting the fact that other people do, and you feel that it's within their right to do so. That's fucking wild.
Profiction, often shortened to profic, is a term that is similar to pro-shipping. That means essentially the same thing, except it's more general and less tied specifically to shipping or to fandom spaces. It usually refers to all fictional work covering taboo themes in general, not just shipping, though to my knowledge the terms can be used interchangeably and both refer to the same general beliefs and mindset.
Right, but there is a slight difference between drawing someone, say, cannibalizing another person, and drawing an adult fucking a child or an animal. Is that just me? I feel like it's entirely more disturbing to see a depiction of a child or an animal being abused than anything else, to be honest. And I feel most people would agree with me here. The thing is, books and movies have always had these type of topics and type of themes. And personally, I think that taboo themes can be touched upon in the media, but it depends on how you do it. The way I see it is better left unseen. what you can't see is often more disturbing, especially when you know exactly what is happening. Take the scene from Gerald's game, for instance. In this scene, the child version of Jessie gets sexually assaulted by her father. You know exactly what's happening, but you can't see it. So not only is it disturbing as fuck, but it also doesn't put the child in a vulnerable position of being sexualized on a fucking TV screen, right? Drawing child pornography is not the same thing. And for those who simply ship a child character with an adult, but don't draw or consume sexual content of them, it's still fucked up because you're actively endorsing a relationship like this. Back to the Gerald's game example, the abusive relationship between Jessie and her father is never once depicted as sweet or innocent. It is very clear from the start that this is not okay, and even shows Jessie as an adult struggling with the trauma of what she went through as a child at the hands of her father. Proshipping takes away that cautionary side of it and simply romanticizes and even to an extent promotes these types of relationships.
Anti-shipper, often shortened to anti, is a term that refers to somebody who is heavily against pro-ship beliefs. They often believe that the portrayal of taboo themes in fictional pairings reflect the actual real-life views of the people creating these works.
So, sane fucking people, basically.
So, what do I think about pro-shippers?
Wait for it. Here it comes. Almost there!
Well, I refer to myself as pro-fix, so that should tell you everything that you need to know. I 100% agree with the general mindset that pro-shippers believe in. Fiction is fiction, and as long as it stays completely fictional, there's no harm being done by creating fictional works with taboo themes. I think that the censorship of fictional works is harmful to artists and writers, and is an insanely slippery slope to go down.
Censorship can absolutely be bad for artists, unless it's child rape or bestiality. God, I'm gonna have to censor so fucking much of this video. I hope you guys don't have tinnitus like I do. My ears are gonna be ringing like fuck once I'm done here. Yes, fiction is absolutely just fiction, unless it promotes harmful ideologies. Again, you can talk about taboo subjects and use them within your creative work. But if you are actively promoting and romanticizing such things, then no, you shouldn't fucking post it online or publish it, and you should 100% be scrutinized for it.
I personally believe that anti-ship beliefs come from a personal disgust of certain content.
No shit.
And they think that just because it makes them uncomfortable and reminds them of real-life harmful and taboo subjects, it must be harmful in some way. Because of that disgust, they try and find evidence and logic for why these things are actually harmful, and they often don't do a very good job, which is exactly why a whole section of this video will be filled with counter-arguments that I will debunk.
Well, I certainly can't wait to see that.
Something I want to tell aunties who are watching this is that just because something makes you feel uncomfortable or triggers you doesn't mean that you should fight to censor it. If you dislike something, you should have every right to not engage with that content and block the people creating it. But on the other hand, the people creating this content have every right to not only create that media but post it publicly, given it's allowed on the places they're posting it.
Usually I would agree with what Pumpkin Girl is saying here. Pumpkin Girl? Who the fuck is Pumpkin Girl? Usually I would agree with what Mushroom Girl is saying here. Remember the Dolly Guts drama? How they drew self-harm, gave tons of warnings on their pages about it, and yet Kaimarama, who's back by the way, decided to take personal issue with the content, even though she herself engaged with it for a very long time, and she demanded that Dolly Guts censor it. Do you remember that? In that case, or a case like that, I would agree with Mushroom Girl. Artists should be allowed to post whatever they want, and if you don't like the nature of their content, you can avoid them as much as you see fit. However, again, it is not the same for literal child pornography, which, by the way, drawn child porn is still child porn for any of the lollies listening. I'm going to son of a bitch. I'm going to skip a little bit since I have covered almost every single fucking minute of her video so far, and I don't want this video to be too long, so we'll get started on sort of her counter arguments, her fun little, cute little counter arguments.
The definition has slowly turned from freedom of expression to basically a pedophile with extra steps, since anti-shippers usually believe that liking a problematic pairing in media, especially for some kind of sexual purpose, means that you would also find it attractive in real life as well. They are literally rewriting the definition to make it as easy to call pro-shippers pedophilic, abusive, family-fucking rapists as possible. Again, I don't think I need to spell it out for you why that's an issue.
Mushroom Girl, can I just ask you a question really quick? Is that okay? If someone shipped a 7-year-old, let's say, with a 30-year-old, why do you think that would be? Why do you, Mushroom Girl, think anyone would find a romantic or sexual partnership, relationship, between two characters, one being a child and one being an adult, acceptable in the media if they didn't find it acceptable, or at least desire it, in real life? Listen, I come across a lot of monster fuckers on Twitter, okay? And it's fucking weird, but I know that monsters are not real in any capacity. You know what is real? Children. I was a child once. Crazy, I know. So how is it so hard for you to understand that a fictional relationship between a child and an adult being accepted is not, or could not be indicative of real life behavior or desires? Throwing that out there. Mushroom Girl, just throwing that out there for you, my love.
If pro-shippers really were so immoral, why would antis feel the need to change the definition based on what they see fit? Like, yeah, no shit, if you change the definition of words on a whim, you can basically argue anything to be true. If you change the definition of leftism to mean people who like touching children, it's pretty damn easy to argue that leftism is pedophilic, isn't it?
Where the fuck has leftism come from? Anyways, the definition hasn't changed. Antis, as you like to call them, just read between the lines. It's not that fucking hard.
If young impressionable children see content that's romanticizing pedophilia, incest, and abuse, they might think those behaviors are okay in real life.
I agree with this statement at face value, though there's one simple solution to this. Don't let this content get into the hands of people who are too young to properly differentiate fiction from reality.
The number of mentally retarded is increasing.
Wow, Mushroom Girl, that is a fucking amazing idea. How do you suppose we do that? Should we say age gate our accounts? Oh, wait, no, that doesn't work. Children lie about their age. Okay. Okay, how about we age gate the sites that we post on? Oh, wait, no, sorry, that doesn't work either. Because children lie about their age. Okay. Maybe we should just wait, fuck, no, okay, sorry. Children lie about their age. It's not gonna work. Yeah, you see how difficult this fucking is? You can take all the proper precautions to keep minors away from your content, but shock to fucking nobody except for Mushroom Girl, children lie about their age. All of the time. And even if you fucking ask them, straight up for ID verification, it's not hard to photo manipulate or just steal, like, your parent or sibling's ID. If we made the entire internet, all over the world, 18 plus, by law, it'd still be overrun by children, and you know it.
Unless that content is being deliberately shown to children or posted on websites made for kids, it's not pro-shippers' fault if children find that content.
I mean, it is, though. They posted it, so it kind of is their fault.
Also, some of the content often discussed in these discussions is pornographic and probably shouldn't be in the hands of young children anyway, whether it features incest, abuse, and pedophilia or not.
Again, no fucking shit, Sherlock. But guess what? Children get exposed to this type of shit all of the time, and often expose each other to it. Shouldn't be happening, but we don't live in a utopia. Shit happens.
And fuck, by this logic, anything not kid-friendly isn't allowed on the internet. Fictional violence, fictional gore, pornography in general, not even just the stuff you personally find gross or immoral. Moral of the story, pro-shippers aren't babysitters. They are not responsible for your fucking kids.
Yeah, but fictional violence is completely different to child pornography, dude. Again, I'm just repeating myself here. Seeing two adults have sex on screen is different to seeing an adult rape a child on screen. That will mess up the mind of any person, any non-pedophilic adult, let alone an actual child.
A victim of childhood sexual abuse or sexual assault might see this content and it might trigger them.
I'd just be repeating myself with this argument as Mushroom Girl goes on to explain that anyone can be triggered by anything, which, yes, I agree. That can happen. Other people's triggers aren't your fault, and they're not yours to deal with. However, again, for the millionth time at this point, depictions of children or animals getting abused will trigger most everyone, even those who've never experienced it, because it's fucking vile. Even rape art in general has the potential to trigger people who have never experienced rape before, because it's fucking vile. It's kind of common sense.
Fictional pedophilic content causes people to have those desires in real life and makes people commit those crimes in real life.
This is a common argument made by aunties, and while to some it may seem sound at first, there has been, at least to my knowledge, no studies that properly confirm this claim to be true. Yes, there was most likely some kind of correlation between real-life sexual predators and pro-shippers, but it doesn't really mean much.
It doesn't take a genius to figure out that being exposed to content like this, especially if you are very young or already a degenerate, can cause you to seek out more of it and potentially want to indulge in it in real life.
Hell, people have already committed crimes based on violent works of fiction, and I don't see any aunties claiming that these works shouldn't exist. The first example that always pops up in my head when I think about this discourse is the Slender Man stabbing, a case where two 12-year-old girls attempt to murder their friend as a sacrifice to Slender Man.
So, okay, you said that the shit is unlikely, and then go on to show us a case in which children were influenced by the media to commit a crime. Okay, Mushroom. She goes on to say that Slenderman or the creators weren't blamed for the crime being committed, which personally I find kind of hard to believe. You see it all the time, parents blaming video games for violence. And I'll do you one better. Do you know how many fucking cases there are of children acting out violently because they've come across violent pornography and they've tried to reenact it in real life by harming other children, often their own siblings? Children are impressionable, there's no doubt about it. And yeah, they shouldn't be seeing this type of content. But shit like murder and violence doesn't get painted in as positive of a light as pro-ship art does. And personally, I think that children are more in harm's way to come across art depicting a child of a similar age being in a sexual or romantic relationship with someone very much older. If they see that it's okay, then they'll likely... God, fuck. If they see that it's okay... Oh my god. If they see that it's okay, they'll likely think it's okay.
The point I'm trying to make here is that anti-shippers usually only throw a fit about dark media when it's sexual or romantic, which is a really weird specificity to have, but it's most likely based on moronic anti-kink and anti-porn beliefs. But it makes them look really silly when you see anti-shippers eating up dark, morally questionable, and violent content, but throwing a fit on the ground like a toddler when they see someone enjoying similarly dark, morally questionable, and violent content because it's just a tad horny.
First off, I don't feel like I need to be the one to break the news that sex crimes are some of the most horrific offenses imaginable. And second, if it's a romantic or sexual relationship, it implies that it's a good thing unless specified otherwise. I'll give you another example. Ascended Astarion from Baldur's Gate 3. If I start shipping him with my Dark Urge Tav, most people will be concerned, because Ascended Astarion is a pretty shitty person with some abusive tendencies. People may assume that I want a man to treat me the way Astarion treats his partners. That is, until I tell them that my character is also a very shitty person who murders people because her daddy told her to. They're both awful people and neither of them can have a happy ending, because quite frankly they don't deserve it given their behaviours.
I do rather like that, you know.
See what I just did? I specified why the sexual relationship between these two characters is ultimately toxic and should not be promoted in real life. Pro-shippers don't tend to do that. They ship the most awful pairings and then try to justify it and create artwork that makes the relationship look cute or sweet or innocent, when it very much isn't.
Lolicon is illegal, so it must be morally wrong.
Are we really going to argue that the legality of certain actions dictates the morality of them? Really? Is that really where we're going here?
Yes, in some cases, legality and morality don't fit together. For example, someone being given a 10-year sentence just for possessing weed. Or, I don't know, thinking it's okay to be 30 fucking years old and having sex with a 16-year-old because they're the age of consent. Some things are morally not that bad and receive a worse punishment based off of legality, and some things go unpunished based off of legality instead of morality. However, lolicon is pretty fucking cut and dry. It's illegal and immoral. It's illegal because it depicts children in sexual situations, and it's immoral because it depicts children in sexual situations. Your argument does work for some things, just not for this. I'm gonna cut it short here because a lot of the remaining video is just rambling about some call that she had and some other really shitty rebuttals, and for some reason talking about racism, I guess. If you want, I can do a follow-up video for the latter half of her video. But yeah, I'm halfway through and this video is already long enough, so for now I'll just leave it here. I know I'll get some comments about Mushroom Girl being 17, and all I have to say is that 17-year-olds should know better, and if they don't, then perhaps they're the children who have been misguided by the communities they claim don't influence minors. Ironic, isn't it?
Yes, it is. Isn't that ironic?
This was really fun to make. If you enjoyed, then by all means, click all the buttons that will help the video do well. Check out the links in my description. And if you want a VTuber like mine, you can check out the artist who created it. The link is in the description as well. You can buy it for, I believe, like $12 or something. And then you can customize it yourself to fit your needs. I hope you enjoyed the video, and I hope you enjoy the rest of your day, night, evening, afternoon, whatever. Have a good one.
Guys, I'm getting abused.
We're about to have a domestic.
I'm being abused right now if you can't see. You come in there knowing that's the fucking culture of it. And if you don't...
Came in on Fat Cock Thursday.
Girthless.